both Sylvie and her older daughter, Diana, feel that it's really important to keep a part of themselves sort of separate from their husbands, from their children. And I'm just curious, as a wife and mother, do you think that, do you think a lot of women out there feel that way?
I think that most of the women I know have internal lives. I think that as much as you're there for your husband and there for your kids, and what you see is what you get, I think that most women have a little piece of themselves where, you know, like maybe in their heads they're with George Clooney on Lake Como, or, you know, it's like they're
never,
well, maybe just a little bit, but you know that it's sort of, I think that's why women are readers, you know. I think that reading is a way of sort of, you know, it's thinking, I mean, it's sort of identifying with characters and reading great stories and losing yourselves in them, but I also think that, you know, for women who read women's fiction, it's a way of investigating what-ifs in a really safe way.
At one point in the book, Selma, Sylvie's
mother,
80-something-year-old mother, who's just, she's a great, hilarious character. But she says, in Chinese, the word for crisis is the same as the word as opportunity. How important in your life is this, in your novels, and also is this a maxim that you apply to your own, your own life?
You know, it's like I wake up in the morning and the kids are screaming, and like Phoebe has like tossed every toy in her toy chest onto the floor, and I'm like, in Chinese the word for crisis is the same as opportunity, and then I'm like, I need some Chardonnay. You know, but honestly, like, I think that in my own life, and it's funny, we were answering some readers' questions before, and somebody had asked about my parents getting divorced when I was a teenager, which was this horrific, devastating, like, world-ending, it was awful. It was a really bad divorce. It was messy, and there were bad financial consequences, and it just was sort of like a scorched earth scenario. But I think that going through something like that made me maybe more resilient and more funny than I would have been. It definitely gave me stories to tell. In Fly Away Home, the worst thing that could happen, the father who cheats, and it becomes public, and it's all over the blogs and the late-night talk shows, and people make jokes, and of course the wife and the daughters feel shame, and the wife is thinking, is this my fault? Should I have done more? Like, is it a sex thing? You know, like all of the terrible things. But the worst thing becomes an occasion for their reinvention, where Sylvie sort of reevaluates her marriage, and Diana reevaluates her marriage and the choices that she's made professionally, and Lizzie has a big choice that she has to make because she meets this guy, and it's sort of, you know, not giving it away, but it's sort of, you know, with Lizzie, who's 24, it's sort of like, am I going to be a grown-up? And so I think that, you know, I do believe, you know, in fiction and in life, sometimes the bad things are the occasion for grace and for growth.